welcome back to our video sermons. Again, I want to thank everybody for sharing in this fellowship with us, and we do look forward to coming together as one body again, hopefully soon, so we can praise the Lord as one. I do want to thank everybody for that fellowship, though, for this opportunity to come together and learn about God's Word together. Well, let's go ahead and we'll open up in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this day. Lord, we thank you for your creation, the life that you give within it, Lord. Lord, we thank you so much for all that you have done for us. Lord, you are a wonderful God, a wonderful designer, a wonderful creator, an abundant Father who gives. We thank you so much for that, Lord. Lord, we raise up the people that are not here today, Lord, for people that are in need. And we ask that you provide for them, Lord. You give them what they need, that you bless them, that you watch over them, give them comfort and peace. Lord, bring them safely back to your house where we can worship you as one, all that you have given. Lord, we thank you so much for those who are on our front line right now, our doctors, firemen, our police, our nurses, the people that are stocking shelves, Lord, and keeping food lines going, our truckers. Lord, we thank you so much for them, that they're out there doing a job and meeting the needs of so many. Lord, I ask that you be with the people that have lost their job, Lord, that are in need, who don't have the resources, Lord, that they used to have, Lord. We lift them up to you and ask that you be with them. Lord, I thank you again so much for all you have done for us and all that you will continue to do. Lord, thank you so much for the gift of your Son, Jesus Christ, who has met every need for humanity. Lord, we thank you for who you are and all the wonderful things you have done. In your holy name I pray. Amen. Well, today we will be in Psalms 104. And we're going to continue talking about prayer. We've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks. And go to the Psalms because they are praise, they are worship, they are prayers to God. And it's always a good place to go. 5 parts of prayer, if we remember. What are those? Yep. Absolutely. You're correct. Ding, 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 you got them all. Fantastic. The 5 parts of prayer, what are they from the Lord's Prayer? They are acknowledge the authority of God. Acknowledge that we submit to that authority. Today we're going to be looking at the third one, acknowledging that he will provide. He gives us all that we need. And then the final 2 are acknowledging we are sinners and that we need salvation and forgiveness. And then the final one is acknowledging that we need guidance from God alone. Today we are acknowledging that God provides, and I titled this, Designed to Provide. That's the name of the sermon, Designed to Provide. I'm not that great with sermon titles, so you get what you pay for. Designed to provide, that's what it is. And that's his entire plan and his will is to provide for humanity, to provide our needs. Now, Psalms 104 is kind of long. I'm going to read it, and then we're going to take it in chunks, is what we're going to do. Bless the Lord, O my soul, verse 1. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed with splendor and majesty, covering yourself with white as with a cloak, stretching out heaven like a tent curtain. He lays the beams of his upper chambers in the waters. He makes the clouds his chariot. He walks upon the wings of the wind. He makes the winds his messengers, flaming fire his ministers. He established the earth upon its foundation so that it will not totter forever and ever. You covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters were standing above the mountains. At your rebuke they fled. At the sound of your thunder they hurried away. The mountains rose, the valleys sank down to the place which you established for them. You set a boundary that they may not pass over, so that they will not return to cover the earth. He sends forth springs and valleys. They flow between the mountains. They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild donkeys quench their thirst. Beside them the birds of the heavens dwell. They lift up their voices among the branches. He waters the mountains from his upper chamber. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of his works. He causes the grass to grow for the cattle, and vegetation for the labor of man, so that he may bring forth food from the earth, and wine which makes man's heart glad, so that he may make his face glisten with oil, and food which sustains man's heart. And the trees of the Lord drink their fill, the cedars of Lebanon, which he has planted, where the birds build their nests, and the stork whose home is in the fir trees. The high mountains are for the wild goats, the cliffs are a refuge for the Shephanim. Rock badger is another term for that. He made the moon for the seasons. The sun knows the place of its setting. You appoint darkness, and it becomes night, in which all the beasts of the forest prowl about. The young lions roar after their prey and seek their food from God. When the sun rises, they withdraw and lie down in their dens. Man goes forth to his work and to his labor until evening. O Lord, how many are your works? In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your possessions. There is the sea, great and broad, in which are swarms without number, animals both small and great. There the ships move along, and Leviathan, which you have formed to sport in it. They all wait for you to give them their food in due season, and you give to them. They gather it up. You open your hand. They are satisfied with good. You hide your face. They are dismayed. You take away their spirit. They expire and return to their dust. You send forth your spirit. They are created, and you renew the face of the ground. Let the glory of the Lord endure forever. Let the Lord be glad in his works. He looks at the earth, and it trembles. He touches the mountains, and they smoke. I will sing to the Lord as long as I live. I will sing praise to my God while I have my being. Let my meditations be pleasing to him. For as for me, I shall be glad in the Lord. Let sinners be consumed from the earth, and let the wicked be no more. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Praise the Lord. Provision through creation. Designed to provide. You don't create something if you're not going to take care of it, right? I'm an artist. I like to draw, I like to paint, I like to make things. But I don't make this fantastic picture go, oh, magnifique. No. Take care of it. I put it in a frame or a portfolio, or I protect it. I care for what I create. I care for what I make. So does God. He creates, he designs, he plans, and it will be provided for. Because he's going to take care of what he's made. Verses 1 and 2. We look at this through prayer structure. Here a little bit. Authority of God. Here the psalmist is praising the Lord, acknowledging the greatness and the majesty of God. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed with splendor and majesty. Majestic. Powerful. His holiness and righteousness are described with a covering of light, covering yourself with light as with a cloak. Stretching out heaven like tent curtains, he lays the beams. I'm sorry, that's verse 3. Stretching out heaven like a tent curtain. His power stretches out. Stretches out over the heavens. All powerful, all knowing, all seeing, all present. Power, majesty, greatness. Acknowledging that authority of who God is. Verse 3 through 9. Submission to God. Now, I will tell you this. If you read Psalms 104, as you're reading it, it mimics the creation account. Just go through it and look. You'll see. It mimics creation. It's because the Lord cares over all his works, all of creation. So it's going through that. But all he creates submits to him. All of creation, not just some man, submits to God. It has a purpose. It has a role. It has a specific niche to fill. Niche, however you say it, according to God's design. Nothing is created haphazardly out of chaos. Roll the dice cosmically. Little molecules banging together until kaboom, and things happen. No, it's design. And yet all of it submits to him. He lays the beams of the upper chambers in waters. He makes the clouds his chariot. He walks upon the wings of wind. Even the air obeys him. Does what he wills. Goes where it goes. Where he tells it to. Doesn't just change course. No. It's designed to function a certain way. Now, verse 4, in some translations, it's talking about he makes his angels his messengers, flaming fire his ministers. Some translations do say angels there. And even angels submit to him. Well, not all of them did, right? Okay, I'll give you that. Some of them didn't submit to him, and where are they now? Cut off to fend for themselves. Their needs aren't being met. But through creation and submission to God, life is provided for. Life submits to God. His creation submits to him. Submission equals provision. Everything created, from the rocks to plants to insects to the whales to man, it all submits to his design and plan. You covered it with the deep. Or he established the earth upon its foundation, so it will not totter forever and ever. Designed. You covered it with the deep as with a raiment, the water standing above the mountains. Verse 7. The mountains rose. Verse 8. The valley sank down. Verse 9. You set a boundary that they may not pass over. The waters may not pass over, so they will not return to cover the earth. Nothing just happens. It doesn't do as it pleases. Sure, there are physics and gravity and things like that involved, but God created the rules of that. Water doesn't flow where it wants to. It is gathered into places. God gathered it into certain places. Even after the flood, it went to the places that God designed. It wasn't like, stop her on, a little cork in the bathtub. The water went down and just kind of went wherever it wanted. No, that was still directed by God. It's gathered into certain places for specific purposes. Lakes and rivers and streams and oceans and seas, fresh water, salt water, polar ice caps, frozen water. All of it designed specifically for what God wants. Mountains and forests don't just spring up undirected. They're not there because millions of years ago. No, God created them there. Everything is placed specifically so that life has its needs met and that it flourishes. That's why certain life flourishes in very specific places. So we have ecosystems, correct? The South American rainforest hasn't taken over the world. Why? Well, that's because it's on the equator, it's warm, and the way the evolution did, and the animals and the plants and the sun and all that kind of stuff. No. It's there because God created it there. It hasn't gone anywhere else for any other reason. Deserts don't take over the world. They're in specific spots for specific reasons. Mountains are in specific areas for specific reasons, for weather patterns, to create plains on other sides where life flourishes. You don't get the same life in northeast Pennsylvania as you do in Botswana. I don't see giraffes galloping down Route 6 or 81. Life is different in different places. You go to Midwest, to Kansas, you won't find even a couple hundred miles away in Colorado, life is different. America is different from Europe. Europe is different from Asia. Asia is different from Africa. Different life. Every environment was created by God to sustain some life that was there. It's there for a reason. And it all submits to God's plan. Why doesn't a lion just get up and pack its bags and move to India and live next to the tigers? No, it's where it's supposed to be. Now, you do have invasive species, but that's usually our fault as human beings. Well, if we stop meddling with God's plan, things work out. But life submits to his plan. In that submission, needs are provided for. Stay where you got to stay. This is what's working. This is how God designed it. If you submit to his authority of where everything's at, it will be provided for. Verses 10 through 18 talk about provision through creation. He sends forth springs in the valleys. They flow between the mountains. They give drink to every beast of the field. God has provided for every need, from plant to animal to man, through his creation. Every need is met by this world around us. If you have a need, it is met. If an animal has a need, it is met in this world. Water, it flows to those specific places. So much is built around water. So many needs are met. Right? The rule of 3 in survival. I don't know if people know that one. I've mentioned it a few times. The rule of 3 in survival is 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, you're dead. Rule of 3. Well, God has given us air. And he's gathered water into certain points. So we go there to get water, right? It's found in specific locations. Animals go there. Plant life grows around it, and animals go to that watering hole repeatedly. There are huge migrations that go around and hit specific watering holes all the time. Life is found there and drawn from there continually, repeatedly. Yeah, there are predators around there, aren't there? The wildebeest keep going to that same spot in that stupid river, and they keep getting eaten. But that's because the crocodiles need something to eat, right? And then there will be scavengers that come after them. Life is found around them. Civilization thrives around watering sources, don't they? You don't build a city in the middle of the desert. You have to have a water source. Maybe an oasis, that's where you build around. Okay, that's fine. But you have to have water. Like I said, plant life is around the water. Shelter for the animals. Wood, trees, reeds, that's what we can make to provide us shelter. The world is satisfied. Verse 13. He waters the mountains from his upper chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of his works. The earth is satisfied. He's given everything that we need. He waters us, he feeds us through that design, through those niches, through those ecosystems, those little microcosms. All needs are met. That's beautiful. All of it is met by God. And the earth, all of creation, who has submitted and gone according to his plan, they are satisfied with his works. All their needs are met. He causes the grass to grow and vegetation for the cattle and vegetation for the labor of man, so that he may bring forth food from the earth. Near that water source or near anything, we've learned agriculture, haven't we? We've learned to hunt, but we need more than that. Animals run. I don't have to chase a carrot. So we go out there, vegetation, crops. We started doing that. We have to be around a water source, of course. We start to grow things, corn, wheat, and all these, delicious things. We probably went to a water source years ago and went, wow, look, I've got trees that I can make shelter out of. Oh, look, all the little funny critters that are walking by. Oh, I could shoot those with an arrow. Oh, mangoes and papayas and I was going to say pineapples, but pineapples I found out grow in a bush. Yeah, blew my mind. But I see these things. Oh, well, I picked them. Now I'm starting to eat more. What if I cut it open, use that little thing on the inside, that seed, and I start to plant it? He gives us the vegetation so we can take from what he's created, move it over here, put it down, and start working it. Agriculture. But it says, and vegetation for the labor of man, so that he may bring forth food from the earth. Not given without some sort of effort, so that he may work it. God said, I've given you everything you need. Water, animals for me. And I've given you plants and trees that you can grow. Take with you. Now you don't even have to be dependent on this water source and the stuff around it. You can take it to somewhere else. But you're going to work at it. Back in Genesis, the fall of man, yes, you will work the earth and you will be sore from it. It will give you trouble. But I will give you everything you need. If you don't put the effort in and you die, that's not on God. That's on you. So often do we just want to sit by the watering hole and go, feed me, shelter me. God's going, I have. Get to it. Go on. Now, there are times that he has provided, sarcastic as that kind of is. There are times he has provided, remember, manna and quail for the Israelites when they were in the wilderness. There are times he does provide, but 9 times out of 10, he expects you to work what he's giving you. We are providing what we need from the earth. We are not without provision in God's creation. There is not a place on this planet, I am telling you, there's not a place on this planet that you cannot find some sort of provision that God has provided. There's always something. And on that off chance that I'm wrong and there's that one spot, then don't go there. But we were given everything from God. Water, food, shelter, commerce. Remember that little company papery thing that we use for services rendered? We build up a civilization. We have currency. Gathering places. Social interaction. That's important to humans because we're social creatures. We're made that way. All is provided by God through his specific creation. A design and plan and logical and rational, and everything works. Provision of time even. Verses 19 through 23. Time submits. Yes, the animals submit. They stay where they're supposed to be. We submit. We do what we're supposed to do. We work the ground. We get our food. We put in our effort. Okay, great. The stars and the moon and the sun. Yes, I know the sun is a star. But the stars in the heavens, the bodies in the heavens, they submit to him. And they create time for us, don't they? The moon gives seasons. He made the moon for the seasons. The sun knows the place of its setting, verse 19. Every aspect of creation is directed by God, so that it provides for his creation. Life thrives at different times, doesn't it? We have the seasons, things happen during seasons, daylight, nighttime. What is it? Diurnal is day, nocturnal is night, right? Life thrives at different times. Verse 20, you appoint darkness and it becomes night in which all the beasts of the forest prowl about. Verse 21, the young lions roar after their prey and seek their food from God. Some animals, some creatures during the day, some out at night. Nocturnal, diurnal. Earth and its inhabitants have a purpose. They play that purpose out within the time that God has created. You have these animals that hunt nocturnally. Why? Well, there's a reason. Perhaps they're in a dry climate or a hot climate, and they're so big animals. Look at lions. You know? It's exhausting to hunt during the day, and yes, I do know they do hunt during the day. But they do a lot of hunting at night where it's cooler. A lot of animals, jaguars, leopards, bats, they hunt at night. That's their specific little niche. We're given time. Why? Well, you don't want a lion hunting 24 hours a day because then he kills off everything. You don't want a buffalo grazing 24 hours a day because he'll overgraze and then that'll kill everything. So time. Each time in its place to each season, and even that submits to God. The sun doesn't go, I'm staying up. The moon goes, I'm going to skip this season. I'm going to pull away, no gravity, and tides, ebbs, seasons, stuff like that. I'm not going to... No, these things happen for a reason. Yes, I get it, physics. But you know what? God created those laws to define time. Even man is created for specific times that benefit his needs. When the sun rises, they withdraw, and they lie down in their dens. Verse 22, man goes forth to his work and to his labor until evening. We're diurnal animals. We live during the day. Yes, I know. We got some party animals, some night owls out there, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Tell you what, you take them out of the club, you take them out of the bars, you take them out of whatever nightlife that they're doing. You take them out of the city, take them away from their shelter, their car, their cell phones. You plop them in a dark forest at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'll tell you what, we're prey for sharp teeth. That's all it is. We're not built for nighttime. We're built for daytime, where we can work, where we can see. We don't have good vision, good sense of smell. We're weak at night. And God said, you'll work during the day, go tonight, where you're safe. It's also to get rest. You worked hard all day. Go home to your family. Have family time. Have communal time. Have fellowship with other human beings. You're at rest. Regain your strength so you will go out, because I told you after the fall it's going to be hard work, and you need to work to get your food. I'm not just going to hand it to you. So you rest. We have specific time. Creation belongs to God, verse 24 through 26. O Lord, how many are your works? In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your possessions. God created all things, and therefore all creation is his and his alone. He created it, he owns it, it's his. And you don't create if you don't want it to last. And I do understand this specific world is not going to last forever. He does create a new earth and a new heaven. Right? He sets things right. But life, that's what God cares about. And he wants it to last for as long as it can until he recreates it in perfection. So he's going to take care of it. What we create doesn't last, does it? I create my beautiful picture and I put it in a frame, but guess what? It's going to fade. It's not going to last forever. It's going to get brittle, crumble. We continually have to restore things because they don't last. Even the pyramids will turn into dust one day. Nothing we build lasts. We try it, and it doesn't work, does it? But all that God creates lasts, and it lasts because he has a purpose for it. He takes care of it. He's designed it with provision in mind. It works together for a purpose to provide. We live among a world that was designed to provide for everything. For us, we're to provide. In turn, we provide for it, don't we? It's that circle of life thing, right? We may think we're at the top of the food chain, then when we die, guess what? We're worm food. We are not above creation. We are a part of it. We are a special and unique part, absolutely. But we are still a part of creation. Now, I just want to make an interesting note here, a little bit of a rabbit trail here. Verse 26, the ships move along, and Leviathan, which you formed to sport in it. Leviathan, it's a creature. It's also mentioned in Job 3:8, Job 41:1, Psalm 74:14, and Isaiah 27:1. So a couple other scriptures. There's also another creature called Behemoth listed. Leviathan is a large, mighty sea creature. Largest of its kind, mightiest on the earth, biggest thing there is. Top of the chain. Right? Massive, it's described as thick armor, huge jaws, a powerful, just huge beast. And it exists because God created it to work within his creation. He provides for it, and in turn, it will provide for his creation. Probably by chomping on something and little things go around and little creatures eat off of it. You know? Provision. Even the things such as big as everything. Blue whale, elephants, huge creatures, right? This thing dwarfs them. They're dwarfed compared to the Leviathan. It exists alongside us and every other creature for a purpose. Now, what is Leviathan? Some speculate dinosaurs, some sort of large aquatic animal, giant fish. From its description, it doesn't sound like a fish, it sounds like a dinosaur. Monster, sea creature, released a kraken. I don't know. It doesn't give us a lot of information, but we know it's a mighty sea creature. Behemoth is a mighty, large land creature. I think it's included here. Verse 26. Now we did the rabbit hole, now we're going to come back. Why is Leviathan mentioned here? This is a mighty creature. We think we're at the top of the food chain, right? Oh, yes, we create fire. and spear and bow and arrow, and we hunt and kill. We have opposable thumbs. Really, have you ever been so high and mighty that you've gone out to a field somewhere, looked at a cow, and gotten all, "No, do you have one of these?" We think we're the top of the food chain. We're not. This thing was at the top of the food chain. Huge. And yet it still submits to God. It has a purpose. It submits to his creation. That will, the design, the purpose of creation. It's something so much. The stars and the moon and this great Leviathan all do as God says. I know. They really submit? Oh, Lord, yes, I submit to you. No, but they go with his will. They don't do what they want. Nothing on this planet, the large to the small, the celestial to the celestial to terrestrial. Terrestrial? Is that what I'm trying to say? Heavens to earth. Doesn't matter. All of it submits to God's plan and design. It doesn't do what it wants. It's not random. It's not evolution. It's not adaptation. It's none of that. It is designed for the way it is. And it's been that way for recorded history. Anything before that, we just kind of make up and fictionalize whatever we want to do. Speculate. From recorded history, things have done what they're supposed to do according to God. They do his plan. 27 through 30, God provides all things. Getting close to the end here. They all wait for you to give them food in their due season. You give to them, they gather it up. You open your hand, they are satisfied with good. Because God possesses all creation, as its owner, he cares for it. He provides for it. Since he designed this world to provide, he provides. He gives what is needed to everything. It is only by him and his design the world gives forth provision in its due season. You don't have oranges. Yeah, you don't have oranges, apples. You don't have those things happen year-round. Even in the rainforest, you would think, oh, that's a constant thing. No, they actually have seasons. You can't get certain things, like this mango tree, only for a couple of months, then it's done. To give them their food in due season, God gives them that food by his design and plan. Migrations. Remember I talked about that? The migration and those wildebeest that keep coming to the crocodile? They don't go there every day. In their due season, through that migratory route, boom, they hit that river. Once a year. Boom, they hit that river. Crocodiles get to feast. We can only get certain things at certain times. We're in the summer now, so of course we're going to get tons of produce, and I love that. I like going to get fresh fruit and vegetables from these little farmer markets, but I can't get them in the middle of December. And it's due time. I would love to get fresh, like right off the tree stuff at a farmer's market in January. You just can't get it. But God provides, and he gives it up. They gather it in. When it's time to gather, we bring it in. We're good. You open your hand, and they are satisfied with good. When God gives, all of creation is satisfied. Their needs are met. Period. Their needs are met. Our needs are met. We look around this world. We know the seasons. We know when to do things. We know when to harvest. We know when to plant and harvest and bring in food. So we have it for the winter. During the winter, we need meat. We know that animals are out looking for food. So we go hunt at that time to, subsidy or whatever, to give us extra food during the winter. There are certain times we know to go do these things. We don't have it year-round. We can't grow crops year-round, each into its own season. God gives that to us. He sends animals, and he sends weather. Be smart. Work the ground. I've given, take, store it up, gather. Filled with good. Needs are met. Now, what's interesting here is verse 29. You hide your face, they are dismayed. You take away their spirit, they expire and return to their dust. Everything lives or dies according to God's creative design, right? live in a broken world. But he's designed it to provide, but yet everything is still mortal. It lives and dies by God's design. Without God, there is no life. That's what I'm trying to say. God designed life. Therefore, it lives. Without God, there is no life. Nothing works, and it withers, and it becomes dust. Only by God does the earth receive what it needs. Only by His design does it live or die. Only by His design do migrations happen, and seasons happen, and weather patterns happen. Only by His design, how He created the foundations of the world, do things survive and live. All by Him. That is the power of God. Power of God equals life. God's life. What's the absence of God? Death. You hide your face and they are dismayed. You take away their spirit, they expire, and they return to their dust. Without God, there is no life. And I think this is why hell, when we think of hell, what do we think of? Fire, brimstone, little devils poking you with little pitchforks, right? No. Hell is the absence of God. You're condemned. He knows you're there, He just doesn't deal with you. See, you ignored me for your life. I get to ignore you from my life. And I will hide my face from you because, one, I can't see you suffer, but you chose this. That's on you. So I'm walking away. When He removes His face, torture, wailing, gnashing of teeth, because without God there is no life. They are the living dead. That's why hell is so horrible. With God there is His life. With God there's an abundance, there's provision, there are needs met. Without Him, there's nothing. Looking at the last few chapters here, 31 through 35, thanksgiving for what we have received. That daily bread. God has given it to us. Give us this day our daily bread. I have, and moreover. Let the glory of the Lord endure forever. Look at what He has done. While this earth is broken and it will be fixed, the glory of the Lord, His design, His plan, His will endure forever. His plan will endure. Let the Lord be glad in His work. And He is. Let Him be glad in what He... Sorry we messed it up, but it is a really cool place, God. Can't wait to see what it is in perfection. When you fix what we messed up. He looks at the earth and it trembles. He touches the mountains and it smokes. I will sing to the Lord as long as I live. Thank you. I will sing to you. Praises and worship and gratitude, thanksgiving. For as long as I live, I will sing praise to my God while I have my being. While I am here in this wonderful creation that you have given me. And it is. It's beautiful. Every day I walk out there, and even the day, it's stormy, it's cloudy, there's some lightning, there's some thunder, and I look at it and I go, oh, I love this. This is awesome. How can you not? Seeing the mountains in Colorado. See, I got to see the Rockies for the first time. Saw them, they were beautiful. I've seen the Alps. I've seen Mount Fuji. I've seen, jungles and hills. And mountains, and canyons, and ravines, and things that you're going, that is real, you have got to be out of your mind. How? There are many places I want to see beauties and wonders that I still want to see. Because how? God created it. I will praise His works. And you know what? It all functions together. It's not just there to look pretty. Oh, that's beautiful, but it has no function. Abstract art. God doesn't do abstract art. It's functional. It has a purpose. And that's what really blows my mind. Is when you look at this stuff around us, and you go, wow, and then it hits you. It's got a purpose to provide. It provides for creation, for the rest of creation. God designed it to have a role to meet needs. There is nothing on this planet that doesn't meet a need in some form or another. There's not a place on this planet where needs cannot be met in some form or another. I will praise the Lord as long as I live, as long as I have my being. I will worship the Lord and be thankful for what He has given. As broken as it is still beautiful. It still works. Now you go figure that one. You have something broken, it doesn't work, does it? It's broke. But God makes this work. We broke it, and it still functions. Because of God, not because of it. Let my meditation be pleasing, Lord. Let me be pleasing to Him. For me, I shall be glad in the Lord. Let sinners be consumed from the earth. Because what? They've turned their face on God. They will be consumed from the earth, and let the wicked be no more. God does not provide those who have no faith in Him, who do not recognize His authority, who do not submit to Him, do not realize He will provide. So you're going to be consumed by the earth and be no more. Because God is going to walk away. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Praise the Lord. Now God provides. You see it here. He's provided. It's got a purpose. It's got a plan. Nothing happens haphazardly. It's not chaos. Not random chance. It's got a purpose. It's designed. It meets the needs. You can go out into the world and your needs will be met. But God does meet them materially. We've seen that. He does help us materially, doesn't He? I have gone through some hard times in my life. Never once have I gone without a need being met. And it's been God. I don't know. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's not being at the right place at the right time. I am not that lucky. I am not that good. It's God. He's always put something in front of me that I can go, oh, thank you. A job, a promotion, a friend, a family member. Always something He's provided. He's given me, worst case scenario, I go out, I hunt, I fish, and I grow stuff. I've got that. I work the land. Bare minimum, I've got that. Because He's given me everything I need. You think we had all this stuff thousands of years ago? No. We got lazy. We don't want to do the work and the effort anymore. But we can if need be. But God will provide us in other ways too, that material stuff. He will, okay, I understand this society. All right, fine. I'm going to put a position in front of you. Go after it. You still got to do the work though, don't you? Still have to do the same thing. You still got to put the effort in. But God will provide that for you. Look at that provision He gives us. And I want us to look real quick. Don't want to take too much longer here. But I want us to go over to Matthew 6. Matthew 6, 25 through 34. I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'm just going to pull out a couple of verses right here. Cure for anxiety. Worry not for tomorrow. 6, 25 through 34. Look at verse 26. Look at the birds of the air, that they do not sow, nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are they not worth much more? Are you not worth much more than they? Verse 28, and why are you worried about clothing? Observe how the lilies of the field grow. They do not toil, nor do they spin. Yet I say to you, verse 29, yet I say to you that not even Solomon in all his glory clothes himself like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, verse 30, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the furnace, will He not much more clothe you, you of little faith? We have to acknowledge that God will provide. It's not a question of does He provide. Absolutely, the Bible tells us, no question. Boom, He does provide. We have to acknowledge and we have to have faith and believe that God will provide. So often we agree that God does provide. But so often we acknowledge that He will provide. There's a big difference there. Does, yeah, we believe it. But I don't have faith that He will do it. No, He will. He said it. You are a special, unique creation. how much more worth are you than the birds and the flowers of the field? You are worth more than 1,000,000 trillion of them. You are, in his eyes, greater than Leviathan, the stars, and the moon. You are that special creation of thought and creativity, of love and compassion, of holiness and unholiness, righteousness and unrighteousness. You can make decisions to choose to follow him. You are a special creation. He cares more for you. And if he cares for his creation and provides for it through nature, will he not provide more for you? Well, great. God provided me, so I guess if I'm in trouble, I can go kill a squirrel and eat it and grow a potato. No. How much more than that? Yes, you have that. We have that. Worst case scenario, we have that. How much more is he going to care to meet needs for you? Job. Income. We're in that situation now, aren't we? Rest assured that God will provide your needs. But you have to acknowledge him as the authority over all creation. You have to submit to him like all creation does. Function within creation as he has designed and planned it, and he will meet your needs. The greatest thing he has ever provided us, and I'll end with this. Life, of course. He's created life. He's given us life. This is a broken world and we die. There is life after death. There is, deal with it. There's life after death. Now you can die forever, being that living dead. Or you can choose. God sent his Son to live and die for us, to meet the most important need. Yes, without food, without water, without air, you will die. But that is not the end. God created life to live eternally, not to die. So when you pass from this world, there is still life, but where are you going to go? Jesus meets the need for life eternally. For God so loved the world, loved this entire creation. Jesus is going to fix what is broken. But for us to enjoy that perfection restored, we have to choose Jesus Christ. He will meet, he has, and he continues to meet the need to escape death. That's the most important need that God fulfills. That provision of the soul, that provision of the spirit, that cries out, that is thirstier than more than water can quench, that is hungrier more than what food can provide. Our soul cries out because we are mortal on this planet, but we have an eternal aspect to us, in heaven or in hell. And God goes, I will give you what you need. You just have to work it. You just have to put the effort in and choose to follow with faith and obedience, and I will provide for you eternal life. All needs will be met and more eternal. God always provides. Creation is designed to provide. And Jesus was provided, designed. It's part of the plan to provide for our eternal life. Everything is designed to meet our needs. Do not forget that. Do not just put that up there. Yeah, God does provide. God will provide. Acknowledge his authority. Submit to that authority and believe in what you of little faith need to believe and have faith and trust in God that he doesn't he will provide. And he's an abundant Father. So he wants to give more. So we go about our week this week. Keep that in mind. When you're in need, you might be in need right now. You might be going, where will my needs be met? God. And then believe that he will do it. Have faith that he will. Acknowledge his authority, submit to him, and he will be faithful to you. He will give you those provisions. We'll go ahead and we'll close in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for all that you have given us. Lord, we thank you so much for the gift of life, the gift of this creation, the majestic works, Lord, that you have done. We thank you so much that there is not one corner on this planet that we cannot find what we need, that life itself, all of creation, that there is not one place that it cannot find what it needs. Lord, we thank you so much for that. A perfect, logical, rational, well-designed, well-thought-out creation. Lord, we thank you for meeting our needs, giving us everything that we require to live, Lord. Most importantly, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, that meets the needs of our soul. The question of eternity. Lord, you have provided him through his death, his resurrection. He is sitting at your throne, Lord. Lord, we thank you so much for him. Lord, I ask that you watch over those people. Lord, I don't pray that you could do something for them. Lord, I acknowledge and I pray and I thank you that you will provide for those who are in need. I lift them up to you. Lord, I trust in you and I have faith that you will meet the needs of the faithful. Lord, help us recognize your authority over creation. Help us to submit to you in your creation. And Lord, help us to continue to have faith that you will provide. Not that you do, but that you will, and you always will. Lord, watch over those who are not here. Bring them safely back to your house. Watch over those that are out there working for us, helping to meet our provisions. Lord, you give us people that help provide as well. Lord, we thank you so much for that. We ask that you watch over them. Lord, again, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who provided his blood, his body broken for us, so that we may have glory forever with you. Lord, we thank you for who you are as the authority over all creation, a wonderful designer, a creative creator. Lord, we thank you for all you have done, all you will do. In your heavenly name I pray. Amen. I want to thank everybody. Have a good week. Be careful out there. We hope to see you soon. Real soon, I hope. God bless.